Hey there, all in crypto here. I got the chainlink chart up today, and we're going to take a look and see if we think it's bottomed out and if we're ready for some more upside. So we're looking at the chainlink chart going all the way back to October of 2017, around there, September. And I had noticed some things that I wanted to take a peek at. And so let's just draw some lines here and see what we can come up with. So if you look over here, the top on January 1st of 2018 was around $1.50. And if we just draw a horizontal line right around that top, you can see that after we broke above this top, we came back down, retested, again, retested, and we retested a third time. This is also the COVID crash, so not too sure if we should worry too much about that third retest. But another thing I want to show you is we're going to take another line and we're going to drop it right over here to the bottom of the downward trend here back in 2018, where first we got a test, goes up, retest, breaks out, test, retest, breaks out, forget this section, goes up, and I'm going to draw one more line. I'm going to put it right there. And if you can see that after our high up here, we've come down to retest the top again, just like over here. Came down to retest the top, retest the top. Now the question is, are we going to come back up, get another retest, double bottom, and bounce out of there? And so let's add a couple more things here to see if my theory might be correct. So we're going to grab a Fibonacci, and we're going to go from the top over here down to the bottom. And we'll just start with that. And if you can see, we're going to zoom in a little bit closer. From the top down to the bottom, a little bit further. After the test down here, we came up and just barely missed the 618. And then it got pushed right back down just below the 236. Then we went up again and broke through. Let's go to the next one. From the top down to the bottom, test, hits the 618 a couple times, comes back down below the 236, goes up, and again, we're forgetting this section here because it was the Rona crash, breaks through. Now, on a larger scale, after we've reached our top here back in May of 2021, coming down, getting that retest of this previous top, are we again going to put a fib down? Are we again going to come back up, test the 618 here, come back down below, and then take off again? And that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's grab the brush tool. That would kind of look something like this, and then go off to our next target, wherever that might be. Whether we reach out to the 1272, around $100, which in my opinion would make perfect sense to get some resistance around $100. I mean, the 1272 hits from this Fibonacci, hits the $100 mark perfectly. So that would make perfect sense for us to retest, double bottom out, come back up, and get some heavy resistance right here around a nice round figure like $100. And then grab our brush tool, come back down, dance around here, maybe even do another double bottom, bounce back up. Now, don't follow these lines exactly timeline-wise because nobody can predict the timing on this, but we are just kind of looking over some theory here on the link chart to see what we can come up with. And again, let's say we add the 1618. I usually like to get out around a 1272 or a 1618, so that way I can re-enter at a lower price because I've noticed a lot of action going on around those two. Just like right around here. Let's turn on the 1618 and the 1272. Right around the 1272, you see some action happening. It came back down. Didn't go very far because this was a pretty bullish breakout here. But then you also see some more action. Actually, I think this one went all the way up to the 2618. Nope. Let's try the 2. There you go. And I'll put the 2 on there. The 2272. So again, not the 1272 had a little bit of action, but it looked like it actually peaked out. And then it had another major drop right around the just below the 2272. Okay. So based on this theory here of getting a double bottom on link, breaking out, another double bottom, breaking out, and you can even consider this a double bottom right here, double bottom, breaking out for the final run. Now, on this one, we didn't come back down and retest the top here, and that's why my theory here is we're coming back down, retesting the top perfectly. Look at these 2 wicks right here. Retesting the top perfectly, coming back up to the 618, then down again, and then up for our final breakout. Oops. Another thing I've got here, so let's go ahead and remove all this stuff, is if we go from the bottom all the way to the top, again, I didn't mention this earlier, I'm on the weekly chart right now. This is really looking at a macro perspective, which I like to look at the macros. As you can see up here, I've only got a 6-hour, a 12-hour, daily, weekly, and monthly. I don't do any of the short-term trading. I like to look at the macro perspective, kind of a macro trader. Try and buy these bottoms. I've been loading up quite a bit on Link right in this area here from $5 and around 40 cents all the way up to $8 roughly. I've been loading up on Link because I think my theory is correct. Another thing we can look at, we're going to do a Fibonacci from the very bottom all the way to the top to do a retracement. And if you look at that, we tapped the 382 Fibonacci perfectly on the weekly chart for a macro reversal. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Fibonacci's and retracements, but if you can bounce off of the 382, it means that you're still in a very bullish uptrend on the macro sense here on the weekly chart. Now, if I'm wrong, I would expect us to come down to roughly the 0.5, around $2.64, and then go all the way back down to $1.33. And I would expect some major reaction to go back up around the 618. But I do see that we just wicked and touched the 382 twice, which makes me think that we are holding this as support very well. We're also moving up. Now we do have a little bit of a downtrend. Let's actually use this top here. And so I would imagine if we were to break through around $9.50, that would get us to our next leg, which if we put the other Fibonacci line up, break through here, we could probably shoot right up to the 618 at around $20, come back down around $9, maybe even $8. And that would be, if this played out, that would be the last chance to load up around, excuse me, $9 or $8 to load up again on Link before we jump all the way up to $100. Right there is a 10x. So if you can load up right around here, and if this is correct, you're looking at a possible 10x all the way up to $100. If that's good enough for you, you can sell out, sell all your positions, sell all your coins, maybe hold on to a few to see if we can even break above the 1272 and get all the way up to the 1618. Another thing we can look at, if that I also have in my theory here, is you can see that we broke down from this rising uptrend. So we were in a very long uptrend all the way from December of 2018 all the way up until November of 2021, which coincidentally is right where I drew my line, exactly when these candles turned red. I use a indicator here called UT-bot, and I use their candle colors to kind of show if you're in an up or downtrend. And that's right when we broke through. That's when and then we had the retest. So we broke through, retested, and now we're coming down. So we did break 4-year trend, 3 to 4 year trend going up, which leads me to believe that this could be a very explosive move coming up. And the reason why I say that is if you see all this volume on the left-hand side when we started this move, it's been decreasing ever since. And look how low it is over here. And the lower the volume gets, the more explosive the move could be. So we started high. It's kind of coiling up. And also, these were shorter double bottoms in time-wise and in price-wise. They were shorter. If we do hold that 386 Fibonacci that I had up here earlier, this would be a very large. And actually, let's do a little move here. So if we held this and we did go up to the 618 and then came back down, that'd be a double bottom. Well, let's go ahead and take our double bottom. Let's assume it's going to happen. And we'll do a estimate of where the price would go, which goes exactly to $100. So you got some confluence there as well. If it did come back up to around $20, come back down, the double bottom would end up having a price target of the 1272, which is more confluence to my theory here, to right up to $100. 10x on link right there. Now I do have a concern. That's obviously a pretty bullish theory that I have going on here. I do have a concern that since we did break this trend line, because it was a 4-year trend line roughly, that maybe once we reach this line here and get rejected, we could end up continuing down and going further. But I do have another indicator here that I want to show. This is the PB Tula R2.0. And what this does is it has these yellow dots here. And if you notice on the weekly chart, we finally broke above it here. Once we held support on the yellow dots, it shot up to its next target. Came back down, found support on the blue and the yellow dots, the blue line and the yellow dots, shot up. Again, COVID. Shot up. If this wasn't even here, just forget those red candles there. It could have just went sideways and shot right up. Came back down, touched the yellow. Came back down. Finally broke through the yellow on a multi-week span or time frame here. Came back up, and what had happened is, actually I need that back. What happened is, if you look at the Fibonacci, this is when everything broke down. We fell through the yellow, came up to the 618, just above it, even the 786 roughly, and then it just shot down. And it could not make a higher high. And that's when we broke through, came back for the retest, tried to retest the yellow and blue, couldn't even reach it. And we're so far away from the yellow and blue. And if you look, it's like a magnet. Once you get above, it always comes back, comes back again. And so we have not tested it in quite some time here, the blue and yellow. Now, with that yellow on, let's go ahead and put another Fibonacci down. That leads us to where maybe the 618 might not be possible. Maybe it does only come back to the 382, which is right in line, which is where the yellow and the blue are going to collide with here in just a second. This is the weekly chart, so we're probably looking at in September that it's going to hit the 382. So if we do continue on a bullish run here, a nice retracement, we could also look at, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, selling. If you're buying down here on Link, you could sell some of your coins right up here at the 382. Now, if it does hit the 382 and get rejected, that's not good either, because that's going the other direction. I told you earlier that the 382 support means that we're still in a bullish trend when we pulled it from the bottom all the way to the top, and we're touching the 382 right now on a bullish Fibonacci. This is the bearish. So if we do hit this 382 and continue down, that's not a good thing either, because that means that we possibly will continue the trend down. So I'm going to be watching right around $12. I actually have a sell order for some of my link tokens right around $12, because I still think there's going to be some kind of a rejection there. Not only are you hitting the blue and the yellow, but you're also hitting a very important Fibonacci line, the 382. And so I think there's going to be some fighting going on right here. If we can break through it and get up to the 618, I'm going to go with my theory being correct, or at least having a higher percentage of being correct, I should say, and coming back down to roughly where it is right now and then shooting off. Now, the reason why I am also bullish on this is if you come back down to the beginning here, when it reached the 382, it was also getting rejected by the yellow. Let's get a little closer. Getting rejected by the yellow and blue line. It took a little while, about 4 weeks here to break through the blue line. Finally broke through and hit the yellow, then got 1 week of resistance, broke up and went all the way to the 618. And then it came back down. So it didn't seem like the first time breaking through this thing, this yellow and blue line, was very difficult. But what did happen is it looks like after we did break through the second time, it took 112 days of finding support on the blue and yellow and having this blue line on the weekly cross over the yellow. And once it crossed over, the blue line crossed over, gone. You just picked up from there. Even if you just got in right here, you put in 875% gains. So you wait for this blue line to cross back over the yellow after we've gotten above the yellow. And also the candles here using the UT bot were green and showing that we were just about to take off. And then it came back down, did the retests. And I'm hoping that we see the same thing around the 382, come up and hit the blue and the yellow, break through after a couple of weeks, get all the way up to the 618, and then possibly come back down to get enough momentum to move to the top side. So that's it. That's Chainlink on the weekly chart, looking at the Fibonacci, different trend lines, and we'll just see if this plays out the way that my theory, I think it might. Leave any questions in the comments, any ideas you might have, and thanks for watching.